Sorry I'm a little late on this speech. I recently had my wisdom teeth taken out and I had a really bad infection and I couldn't leave any speeches, and when I tried to catch up, I started my persuasive speech instead. But to get to the point, I've chosen to do my informative speech on human trafficking. And I hope that by the end of this speech, you realize the severity of it all. Imagine you are leaving for a trip you have been looking forward to for a very long time. You're all packed up on the plane and then finally arrive at your destination. After settling in, you go and explore the area. You're by yourself, just walking around, and suddenly you're kidnapped. You cannot do anything to protect yourself or to escape. You end up being forced to strip your clothes and have your body sold. You are now an object, not a person. What exactly is human trafficking? Human trafficking is the trade in humans, most commonly for the purpose of sexual slavery, forced labor, or for the extraction of organ tissues, including surrogacy and ovule removal. Trafficking is an industry representing an estimated $32 billion per year in international trade, compared to the estimated annual $650 billion for illegal international trade. It is the slavery of our time. It has been going on for over 100 years, even though slavery was abolished 200 years ago. Yet brothels and trades for the human body are everywhere. Human trafficking happens all over the world. This involves the United States. Brothels have been found all over, disguised as strip clubs or massage parlors, all of which are closer to home than you may think. The young women that make these trades thrive mostly come from other countries, such as Hungary, Russia, and Thailand, Mexico, and so on. Most of these girls come to the States to study and have a good job until they can return home. All of these girls are either kidnapped or tricked into working as sex slaves. I'm sure some of you may have heard of the movie Taken with Liam Neeson, but for those of you who have not, it's about human trafficking. Liam Neeson's character in the movie's daughter goes on a trip to Paris with a friend and comes across a charming taxi driver. He tries to act as an ordinary teen and invite the girls to a party, but it turns out his sneaky way was to get the girls' address and where they are staying. Both of the girls are taken, and the father tries to find his daughter. I won't spoil the ending to those of you who haven't seen it, but it's a very good movie and it will give you a better understanding on human trafficking. Human trafficking in persons is a serious crime and grave violation of human rights. Every year, thousands of men, women, and children fall into the hands of traffickers in their own countries and abroad. Almost every country in the world is affected by trafficking, whether as a country of origin, transit, destination for victims. To express the severity of human trafficking, I looked into the facts. Facts always open people's eyes. They sure opened mine. Trafficking primarily involves exploitation, which comes in many forms, including forcing victims into prostitution, subjecting victims to slavery or involuntary servitude, compelling victims to commit sex acts for the purpose of creating pornography, misleading victims into debt bondage. Approximately 80% of trafficking involves sexual exploitation and 19% involves labor exploitation. According to the U.S. State Department, 600,000 to 800,000 people are trafficked across international borders every year. More than 70% are female and half are children. The average age as a teen enters a sex trade in the U.S. is 12 to 14 years old. Many victims are runaway girls who were sexually abused as children. Human trafficking is the third largest international crime industry, behind illegal drugs and armed trafficking. It reportedly generates a profit of $32 billion every year. Of that number, $15.5 billion is made in industrialized countries. Human trafficking seems almost like it came out of a movie. It's just that bad. But the scariest part of it is it's in our own communities, and it's happening all around us. Most people tend to think of something like this to happen to them in another country or just a select few near us. But then you bring up the subject or try to raise awareness. They don't want to talk about it. People are fine with hearing it on the news maybe for a minute, but when they actually have to think about it or acknowledge that's actual reality. There are organizations online that I saw that I was actually interested when I looked it up, and I saw that there's all these people fighting to end it, even though it's a really hard process, because once people get involved and they get sucked into it, they usually never come out. And I'm not going to spoil the end of the movie that I mentioned before, but definitely check it out. It's called Taken, and there's a sequel too, and I just watched that. It's very good and intense. But that's my speech on human trafficking, and I hope it helped aware all of you. Thank you, class.